Wow, that went quick. Okay, y'all, we live. Usually, you press the button and you wait like a good couple seconds. It said clink, clink, hey, y'all. So, everybody,
It's responsive today.
It's responsive today. You know what it is? It missed us for 7 days. So it's like, oh my God, you're back. Oh, we can't delay you. We must get you out to the people. That's what I'm going to choose to believe. So that's what happened. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, everybody, this is the Intermix Show. I'm Simply D.
This is half of Jules, or the outside exterior, shell of Jules. The inner soul is gone. I don't know where it went. I gotta find it.
And,
how are you all?
And we have our special guest. We have Tatiana, who is back with us once again. And you guys are going to see her, a bit over the next couple of weeks. Actually, throughout the rest of the year, I think we're gonna see a little bit more of Tatiana. And no, not like the guy who liked Tatiana on one of the other episodes. We're not seeing more of her like that. She gonna hang out with us. Good, decent people.
Hey, everybody.
So
look at her hair, everybody. It's amazing.
Look at Tatiana's hair. Here, let's show
one of these days, I'm gonna get cornrows.
See, we just leave the camera on Tati for a second. Y'all can just take a look at her head.
No.
That's what I did. It's already out. Yep. Look at that. She done gave y'all an up close and personal view and everything. Look at that. She leans toward the camera, turn to the left, turn to the right. So you gotta show everybody what you've been working on. What you
That's it. That's enough.
Because you're black, so eventually people are gonna be telling you that anyway, just because. Turn to the left, turn to the right. Oh yeah. People ask me that all the time. They're like, who did your hair? But I don't have no hair, so they just want to start talking to me for some reason. People will talk to me about the dumbest things just to start talking to me, so they really will too. So tonight, you guys, we're gonna have kind of a relaxed show. It's gonna be pretty relaxed today. Why? Because we are all freaking tired. But that's not your fault. That's our fault. Because we don't know how to sleep like regular people. So we're gonna jump into a few things real quick. We got some announcements like we always do. We started off with a few announcements. So first announcement is coming January, and we say this, but we want to remind you guys, coming in January, you guys are going to be able to experience the Intermix Show on so many different levels, because you're going to get us on internet radio, you're going to still have us here, and at the very same, well, maybe the next day, y'all can even have us on an app, so that if you really want to interact with Intermix in a way other than the way you do now, there's an opportunity to do that. Plus, the podcast market is growing so much. Everybody likes the Hulu and the Netflix method. They like being able to get what they want when they want to. So doing it this way, you'll have us in your phone, in your tablet, on your tablet, because I like to dance on tablets. I don't know why. Maybe I couldn't spell table as a kid. I don't know. But so it's going to be a Intermix 360 experience. And speaking of that, we have a new sponsor coming in for Intermix 360, so you guys are going to have your Intermix 360 website experience in the near future. Let's see. What else was I talking about? Yay! Yeah. And then I was looking over some of the topics you guys want to talk about, so we're going to try to get some of those in. And no, we have not forgotten about manipulative relationships, but as I said I believe I said this to Tatiana earlier today, one of the reasons why we've delayed going through more of the manipulative relationships stuff is because as a life coach, I hear a lot of different conversations, and I want to make sure that as we move forward in talking about some of these relationships and things, that the people that I work with are not assuming that these topics are driven by them all the time. They're not, but I just don't want the appearance of it to be. So we will be touching on some of these things over the next couple of weeks, because we only got through the intro to the topic and number one. so far for manipulative relationships, and that
We barely made it through number 1.
we barely made it through number 1. So, and there are 16, I believe, of them things. So, we're going to dive back into that coming soon. But we also have the holidays coming up soon. Everything's just running up on us now. It's no longer creeping up. Everything's running up on us now.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, like, my daughter had to tell me, Daddy, next week is Halloween. I said,
Isn't that crazy?
I was like, what happened this month?
Uh-huh.
Like, oh my God.
My thoughts exactly. What happened this month is exactly what came out of my mouth too.
I'm like, what? Did I sleep? What happened? So it's been, so it was a very, so this month has moved very quickly, and so yeah, there is that. Then right after that, we have like that intermix section of the year, which tells you that it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's for making responsible decisions, and we usually start that at Halloween, though. We usually start that at Halloween. And Valentine's Day. That's the 6-month trifecta for us. Like, we hit all them holidays hard. Kind of. But this year, Jules is going to be traveling on around Christmas time. And we're going to be getting ready for our new show, so we might get a couple of weeks off from the INNERMIX show at the end of this year. We'll see. We'll see. But we are moving to 9Com. It's the network that we're going to be on. And guess who has their own show coming up on 9Com? Oh, that's why you can't take her nowhere. That's why you can't do, because you're like, guess who? Everybody had a straight face but her.
Okay.
No poker face action over there.
No poker face.
Fuck. Literally. Oh, God. So bad.
But yeah, so Tatiana has her own show coming up on 9Com. For all those who've been wanting to hear more from Tati this year, well, guess what? You're going to hear a little bit more from her this year, and you're going to see, well, I don't know if you guys are going to see her next year, but you're going to hear a lot from her next year, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And my iced coffee just showed up. Look, y'all talk. I need this. Y'all say something. Anything. I don't care what y'all say.
Iced coffee sounds so good right now, but I don't need the caffeine.
Girl, I don't either.
No bueno. That's a large cup of coffee.
You see this?
That's not a cup. That's a jug.
It's not a jug. I've had a jug of coffee before. This ain't it.
That's what that is.
He is not. I think it's men when it comes to business, because Marvin cups look just like that when we have a meeting. His cups look just like that.
Well, yeah.
I talk. No, I'm joking.
Look, don't start no fights. His cup ain't as big as mine.
Oh.
It's big. Look at your face, because you know it's big. So,
His cup is about
I'm not even gonna respond to that. Good Lord.
Look, I've had such an interesting day, y'all. I can't even front. Like, I'm sure there's more announcements, y'all, but when I think about them, I'll just bring them out later. Oh, we are going to be doing our Instagram 2,000 followers challenge. So we are going to be doing that, and we're going to start it at the beginning of November. That way we have an actual start date. So I'm going to give you guys a start date next week on when we're going to be doing that, and we're hoping to get 2,000 followers in a month. 2,000 additional followers in a month. Okay?
Let's do it.
Let's do that. So that's all we're gonna tell y'all about right now, because everything else y'all have been sending questions in about, the little things, and well, I'm not gonna call them little, but you guys have been sending questions in, but we get a lot of similar questions. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell y'all. We got hacked, y'all. We got hacked. Our Yahoo. I told Jules when I saw her this weekend. The first thing I told her was, yeah, so we got hacked, Jules. But our Yahoo has gotten hacked, and in today's day and age, that is not surprising at all. But some of the questions y'all have been answering were not posted by INNERMIX. So what we're going to start doing is we're going to start putting numbers next to our questions. Okay, so that way you know when it's a true intermix question and when it's somebody just trying to be in a mix. Over this last year, I'm going to vent a little bit because I can and because it's our show and everybody else over there is tired. So here's what. So as they wake up. So far this year, we have had people try to use our name to sign contracts. Yep, had to put a stop to that. We have had people on Instagram claim to be us. Had to put a stop to that. Now that one was kind of fun for me, I gotta admit. And we have had, let's see, there are DJs and other people saying, "Oh yes, we're part of that INNERMIX crew." And so there's literally a guy out there right now with the name DJ INNERMIX. He probably won't be able to keep it long, but. People are literally trying to people have spent the whole year trying to leverage our name, and so I've spent the last year showing them why they can't do that. But it's a very interesting thing because I found another one today, so we had to put the kibosh on it. Had to put the kibosh on that. Because this girl was running around saying her name was Jules of INNERMIX. So I said. But chick was Hispanic. I know I made that mistake once, but I'm glad. It's funny.
I can't believe some of what I'm hearing.
Does she at least look like me at all?
No, but the thing. Here's the thing. So somebody called. Okay, this was one of the dumbest. I can't even pretend not to say dumb, but this one of the dumbest things I've seen. Right. So the girl says, "Call me. I really want to do this event with you. My name is Jules. My name is Jules. I'm with INNERMIX. Just go ahead and give me a call and blah blah." So she put her number out, but the guy was a very professional guy. He said, "Let me call the company instead of calling the individual because they know that INNERMIX is a team thing and blah blah." So they said, "Let me just call the company, make sure I'm booking this correctly." Right. They called our work number because because they just looked it up. It's not like it's hard to find us. We post our number out there, so and anybody who's ever been at the Blog Talk show know how to reach us. You see what I'm saying? But they called today, and I was shocked. So I was about to send Jules a text message until I looked at the date of the event, and apparently, so Jules is gonna be doing a concert while on an airplane flying to Hawaii.
Oh my gosh.
So apparently,
that's how I do things.
The hologram
off of the airplane is what I'm doing it on the actual wing.
Oh, really, girl? That's talking about the. You got crazy.
I like the hair. I like the hair being all crazy in the.
She want that Beyonce look. She like getting in the fan, except she can't do the fan thing.
Yeah.
She waited.
And my video just froze while I was doing that.
Oh, did it?
I look like a ghost. Okay, that just means I need to take this thing off. Okay, there it goes.
We've lost.
My video just said, "I got enough of you."
It's funny. We could see you. You were still moving on ours.
Really?
On our screen. Yeah. Good Lord.
Yeah, you was moving on, man.
Yeah, you're still moving. It's just you. Your computer just don't want to see you.
I guess not.
Like, girl, don't even look at yourself no more. Don't even look at yourself. You got a judgmental computer over there.
There he is.
So,
you don't look right. I ain't gonna picture you no more. Jeez.
Like, picture this. No, don't. Oh man. See,
I mean, I was looking at myself and I'm like, dang, I look extra chinky today. And I'm not doing it on purpose. I can't open my eyes. I get so dizzy. You guys, I have vertigo. That's why I cannot focus. And I don't know what happened. Oh, actually, I do know what happened.
Tell them what happened, Jules.
It's called getting old, and you cannot ride anything anymore on any theme parks. It's really pathetic. I told my dad this today, and he laughed so hard.
Oh, I'm laughing over here. I'm just.
I went to Disneyland yesterday because I haven't been in a very long time, and my season pass is about to expire. So I was like, let's go on a last hurrah, and I went.
She didn't take me there. I'm just saying that.
And it was fun because
Because I wasn't there?
You know, we went, yeah, exactly. It was fine because he was not there. Until the very, very last tidbit, you know, the last hour, decided to go ride, because I thought I was all good. Decided to go ride Space Mountain. And they were doing some kind of like, you know, Halloween theme thing, and so it was extra dark. I mean, the whole ride itself, if you guys have not ridden it before, the whole thing is pitch black with like little bits of stars everywhere. Actually, I would prefer that because now what they do is show little tiny screens, you know, in random places of like ghosts, like in flames.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's going by so fast and I'm moving and my head is being jolted around, that ride is not a smooth ride. So I'm being jolted and there's images that are shaky, and so my eyes were just going nuts, and I think I got vertigo from that. And as soon as I got off the ride, I thought I wanted to throw up. And this is not even a roller coaster. There's no loops. There's no crazy like, you know,
straight speed,
huge dips or anything. It's just straight. I was so mad at myself. It's so pathetic. And all day today, I could not do nothing. Yeah. It's just, you know what it is? It's like the worst hangover of your life without the fun part. You didn't drink anything. And you just have all the nasty bad benefits. Or that's not a benefit. What's the opposite of benefit? Consequences.
Mm-hmm. You got all the consequences, none of the enjoyment. Well, you got to ride the ride. You know,
yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing doctors should tell you when you're pregnant. You know, hey, look, so you got morning sickness and all that, but at least you had to ride the ride. You got to ride the ride. So now look, now you just you throw it up, you dizzy, but hey, at least you got to ride the ride. You know.
No, my friend mother had vertigo, and she used to take medicine for her vertigo. So when I was 13, when we was all 13, because me and my friend, her birthday 3 days from now, her mama told her she was crazy and that we had to go home because she got vertigo. So I've been thinking that vertigo was a mental
disability.
mental disability for so long until I got to school one day, and it just out of curiosity, I was like, so what was her name? Miss Donaldson. What is vertigo? She said she was talking about, she didn't explain it to me like how it is in the dictionary. She just straight out said, it's when your eyes see stuff funny and you start getting headaches and stuff. She didn't give me no dictionary definition. So I was like, okay, then I started looking it up. I was like, so Tiara mama did not. She lied. She just lied. I don't care if Tiara is listening to this right now. Your mama is a liar.
Oh my God. She's like, oh, listen right now, you a liar. You lied, and you know, and it's wrong to mislead young 13-year-olds, because you know, 13 is a very sensitive age for women. So they don't want to know. They don't want to be thinking like, oh, this could happen to me one day. No, they don't want to be thinking about that. Now, a very critical age for women that I'm finding out right now. And I've known it before, but I'm really starting to see it because I'm in this age range now. So a lot of people around me are in this age range. So between 33 and 36 is a very, you know, interesting age for women, because if you do have like mental disabilities or you know, any ailments, they start to show up around these ages because of hormone changes and all that kind of stuff. Like for instance, okay, it can happen a little younger, you know, like Jules, right? A little younger, and now she can't get on nothing fun because she's old. You see what I'm saying? Like, it happens, you know. Oh man, I'm hearing in my ear. People are like, "Do you guys talk to each other like this all the time?" All the time. My wife's in the background. She just said yes. Oh man. So, oh man. So, also this weekend, Jules and I had a chance to go into the studio and really have a good time. And hold on, I have to edit the experience. we had a good time. You know, we got some songs done, and you know, it was a lot of fun. Got to hang out with one of our favorite producers, Cyrese, because we like to share stories and catch up often. Like, we do a lot of different things outside the studio, but when we go into the studio, it's almost like going to therapy sometimes, because
it really is.
It really.
That's, I have to say, it's, the studio is where I know personally for me, I can just become completely honest. Not that I'm not honest otherwise, but it's when, like in the studio, you can't lie. You can't hide anything because it all shows up. And the studio that we go to, I mean, it's just such a safe environment that it's easy to just be comfortable and for you to completely freely express yourself musically. And in order for you to be musically free to do so, you have to talk some things out. And I think that's why whenever especially with Cyrese, it's just good times. Yeah, it's just good times all the time. Like, we crack jokes left and right, not on purpose. It's just the truth, God honest truth that we say. But
it's just funny.
It always seems to be so comical.
No, it's also because especially hold on, I'll remember what something Cyrese said. But or like there was a point in the conversation we were having where Jules was explaining something to Sai, and she doesn't notice at times when her Korean side starts to come out. So so you know how, and this is the best way to describe it, and I gotta say it like this, like people say to black people, but I have friends who are black, so I'm not trying to be insulting or anything. So I'm gonna say I have Asian friends, so I'm not trying to be insulting or anything. But you go to a Asian establishment, it doesn't really matter what it is, and you start talking. They say, what would you like? And he's like, well, what I would like is, and then you say the first thing, and then you say the second but they don't give you time to really finish saying what you were saying, because they figure, okay, I got that next. Like you're wasting their time by expressing your what you got to say. So Cyrese was saying something to Jules, and she's like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. So me and Cyrese just started busting up because she didn't even know she was doing it. She was just cutting him off the whole time. Like,
no, because I got him. I was like, yep, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
I would express it to him that he knew what I was talking about.
He was like, because we had an intern once, and every time we started like talking to her, she was like, she just kept saying stuff in the middle of what we were trying to explain to her. So we were trying to literally teach her something, but she was actually talking in the middle of us trying to teach her how to do the thing she wanted to do. so it was just
that's
very
different.
No, well, it feels the same. So it was a very interesting time. So we had a good time, and so yeah. So I'm getting questions in my ears right now. It's funny. You guys are funny. Okay, so there's a dude in Africa. I can't remember his name right now. Sorry. I tried to memorize a lot of stuff. But one of the questions that we had come in, and I just thought it was entertaining, was, what's it like when you mix a black person with an Asian person and you're trying to do stuff in entertainment? Like, who is in charge, and how do you make the rules of how it's supposed to work? Because in Africa, apparently things are very divided. Male, female divisions, ethnically divisions and stuff like that. So he was really curious on how we're allowed, and this was the phrasing, how we're allowed to work together, in entertainment, because who's in charge? And then he started citing things like, because I don't check this email much, so it was really interesting. But he started citing things like, in a lot of Asian households, a lot of Asian cultures, the men may make the money, but the women spend the money. It's their job to take care of the money, right, and stuff like that. So he was saying, but in black cultures, in America, and he called it American black cultures, the men don't give the money to the women to take care of, right? So it was just. so he was like, so he tried to figure out, so who's in charge? How do you determine who does what, blah blah. And I thought it was a very interesting question because of where he's coming from. it wasn't like the normal, questions we get. His is more cultural, and how do we establish who's in charge and this, that, and the other, and who like one of the questions I thought was really unique is who walks in front of who. Because culturally, the men for him are supposed to walk in front of the women. And I'm like, and then, and in Africa, there's so many divisions in Africa. You might talk to one tribe and you're like, oh, okay. And then the next tribe, you were like, the woman walks in front. So it's just a really interesting thing. So I love getting the emails from around the world because you learn so much about the different cultures. I think because the answer to his question, all I did was I wrote back and said, here we talk things out and we discover and we look things, we look things over. And because Jules is sighted, she walks first.
Oh God.
Let's be real. I walk first regardless.
she's like she walks first regardless. But now she ain't. Now she might need a walker to get down the street. Hey, get on Space Mountain. My wife got on Space Mountain last time we were at Disneyland. That was about this time last year.
You know what's crazy? And that's another thing. It's not only the jolting thing. I actually was a little scared.
You were a little scared?
Because
get off my show.
I saw that I saw how it was built on the inside without the darkness. I saw the picture of it with the lights and everything. Actually seeing this tight corners, I could die in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not secured to anything. I could fly off if my thing doesn't, if I raise my arms too high, it'll get chopped off. I don't know. I was just holding on to everything really tight.
Don't you know that they tell you, and this, like, there was a point, I can't remember if they did it last year when we went. Correct me if I'm wrong, sweetie, but there's a point where they tell you cannot raise your hands in this ride. They actually tell you keep your arms down. Okay? Because remember back in the past, somebody lost a limb, somebody got their head cut.
That's so scary.
Somebody got their head chopped off or something like that because they were too tall for the ride, and this is back when I was in high school, and then park opened up. Everybody got right back on the ride. They're like, oh, well, Cisco must be up there like, I don't have no problems. I'm 5 foot nothing. He's standing up and spitting on the ride and can't worry about that. But excuse me, y'all. So that's one of the, so it was not only because of the speed and the fact that there were ghosts on fire.
I think
because you were afraid, you scared too.
Well, I think I was scared of getting sick, and then scared of getting my arm chopped off. I was just very enclosed within myself and trying to be as still as possible and not look at anything too long because it got me dizzy. It was all at the same time. And then as I was getting dizzy, I noticed that I was getting dizzy, and so I was getting scared that I was gonna get sick afterwards.
Look, let me explain something to you. Let me explain something to y'all. Over the last 2 years, because I have that kind of memory, Jules has gone parasailing but forgot that she doesn't do well on boats. She's gone skydiving. She went out on the ocean in Hawaii, was it a year or two ago, and got green as algae. Okay, and got bit. And got bit under the water. While everybody else is in the same water she in, Jules is the one who got bit. Okay? See, y'all don't understand that sometimes the reason things slow down for INNERMIX is recovery time for Jules. See, I'm the sick one, but she get hurt, y'all. Like I'm afraid to let her do stage combat sometimes because, oh my God, so she's gone skydiving. See, at one point, me and Jules planned on going skydiving together. But in retrospect, I realized that it's a good idea that we didn't because somebody was going to have to drive us home. And Jules, after skydiving, could not do it. Okay, so
I was dead. I was literally like roadkill on the side of the road.
It's just bad, and I'm older than her, and I don't have these issues. My wife is older than her, and she don't have these issues. But I think Jules skipped from, normal to granny mode. Like, something happened. I think, we got to roll back time for her. We gotta roll back time. What's that song? If I could turn back time, you know, we get you back your young stomach, you know. So, although I have heard, now this is a study that I've read where people say that if you've spent a lot of time like in the laser light show type stuff in those situations, that as you get older, it actually does affect your ability to be, you know, stable-footed, and you are not able to, you're statistically not able to take these rides and these things as long as people who have not been as exposed to laser lights and all that. Because Jules is a concert goer. She likes to dance, and she used to like to dance a lot. You know, I don't even know if she can, but whatever. So,
That's another thing. I could not stand for. Oh, I'm not even gonna keep on talking.
No. Keep talking. You can't what?
It's depressing, y'all. It's depressing.
You couldn't
I
stand.
can't even wear heels long anymore.
She couldn't wear heels
Because my back hurt.
because her back was hurting. Oh my God.
What?
Jules, I mean,
Oh God! Like, you know, on days that I have to sing at church for praise, I have to, you know, there's sometimes I want to dress up nice, so I decide to wear heels, and then like a couple hours in, I totally regret my life, and I'm gonna chop my feet off.
she's in church talking about Lord, take me down like she's Fred Sanford. Yeah.
Oh God!
Yeah.
So sad.
After 18, I went to the club because I had never been to the club before. My friend said, "Oh, you need." They was horrible. They already had fake IDs and all that. I was the only one who said no. I'm gonna wait until it's my time. So I went, and me trying to be cute. Of course, I always got the highest heels on. I don't know why. I barely walk in them. I only stayed in that club for about an hour.
Yeah.
After that, I was ready to go. I don't like all that loud noise. I do not like the club. I can count on one hand how many times I've been to the club. I don't like it.
You don't like the noise?
I don't like the club. I don't like the music. I don't like the people. I just don't like the club.
I took my wife to a concert, right? And so she doesn't like, you know, huge, tight crowds, but she liked the artists enough. Because we went to go, at the time, we went to go see INNERMIX, B2K, and City High. Something like that, right? And I can't remember. I remember the name of City High. That's something right there. But anyway, so took her to see this concert, and before we went in, first off, it started raining outside a little bit after she got herself looking good to go to the concert, which to me never makes sense because ain't nobody looking at you at the concert. The lights are bright, but everybody's hoping that the artist will see them, right? But the lights are in your eyes. They're wearing sunglasses to protect their retinas, y'all. Like, because their lights are bright. But anyway, so she got herself looking cute and all that, and so we're standing outside, and then I'm singing outside the club. So all of a sudden, then everybody starts singing along. It kind of happens to us everywhere we go. I don't understand it, but it's fun. Because I put on concerts at the DMV. So we go in there, we enjoy ourselves at the concert, but all these women are pushing up against her. So because they screaming for B2K and of Marcus Houston, right?
Oh, God. I remember what you're talking about. I know you're talking about.
So they going crazy, and these girls keep pushing. So now I'm playing bodyguard. I don't even get to really enjoy the show because these women push up on my woman one more time, and I'm gonna, you know, she's gonna accidentally hit them with my fist. You know what I mean? So it's gonna, you know, you see them Jackie Chan movies where, you know, you use the person because he won't hit a girl, so he'll use the girl's fist, but really he used the force. Like, it was gonna be something like that because these girls kept pushing up on my woman who doesn't like being in these crowds anyway. So after that,
was Jet Li and Aaliyah.
huh?
I thought that was Jet Li and Aaliyah.
Oh yeah. No, but also Jackie Chan's done that in plenty of movies too. But you're right, Jet Li did that with Aaliyah in that movie as well. And Cradle to the Grave. And why do I remember these titles? Anyway,
Yeah.
So
one of
so then we go to the club. Now on the other side of the performing area is this huge club, but they have speakers in the walls and in the floor, so you can feel every beat.
That's awesome.
I know. I'm like, see, Jules is like, it's awesome. I'm thinking, yes, finally, because I can't turn music up like this at the house, you know, right? We get in there, and we're in there. I mean, I'm trying to turn up, girl. I'm like, I was before turned down for what? I'm like, let's go, let's do this. And I'm sitting there trying to convince her, come on, baby, it's going to be fun. Come on, let's go do this. You know, I'm saying everything that a man's supposed to say to get what he wants. So she's not really sure what I'm asking for. All she knows that I want something. You see what I'm saying? Like, but it could have been anything at the moment. But anyway, you know, because music. Anyway, forget that. But anyway, so, so I'm like, come on in. We get in there. We hear one good boom. Right? You know, which is normally what we would have. See, when we do our concert shows, we got to make sure they have speakers in the flow. You know, but anyway, so she's like, I can't do it. I can't. I said, let's just stay for 1 to 3 songs, 7 songs. Let's just stay, you know.
1 to 3, 7 songs.
She's like, I can't. She started to get anxiety because it was just like, it was just too much. And, oh, man, that was my opportunity to really just, we couldn't stay. We had to leave. So I had to start. So after that point, because I realized I can't take her to clubs. So what I had to do was we became friends with a promoter, and he had these more, you know, elegant situations where you could, you know, where it wasn't always super crowded, but it was a good crowd, and you know, and everything. So I took her to hang out with, you know, so the promoter had a good spot, so we would always just go to different spots that he was promoting, and she got treated like a little queen at these spots though, so I guess it worked out, you know. So, but it was something. So anyway, 2 things that we wanted to talk to you guys about today. One actually was inspired by Tatiana and her Instagram page, which is the actual topic of tonight's show. We're talking about. I wanted to call it something like, you know, basically you think you know, but you have no idea. You know, like the beginning of that MTV show, and where they really tell you, you know, you think you know me, but you really don't know my life. You don't know my story. You don't know my journey. And there was a post that caught my attention from Tatiana's Instagram page. You want to shout out your Instagram? You want people to follow you on Instagram?
Follow me at Tatiana_TMG, TATIANA_TMG. Now go ahead.
Okay. So you got that down, girl. You got that down. Hey. You know, y'all want to follow INNERMIX on Instagram. Wait till the end of the show because we never tell y'all too much at the beginning. I don't know why. No, but anyways, y'all can follow us at INNERMIX360.
Spell it out.
Exactly. Oh, girl, you'd be surprised how many spellings I've seen of INNERMIX. And how many dashes. But INNERMIX.
Follow at INNERMIX360. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right. You got it. INNERMIX360. INNERMIX360. Tatiana brings out like the family part of me. Like something about talking to Tatiana is like I'm back at the family barbecue.
That's good. I love family. That's good. That's it. That's on my Instagram. I say that.
So Tatiana, can you read us what you posted?
Oh, I sure can. Let me go up there right now.
Girl, you do that, girl. You do that. And then later on today, you guys, I'm going to talk to you guys about how one of the calls I had today was deep. It was a little bit emotional, and so the woman, you know, she was crying, but she's really going through something that she thought she would never have to deal with, and sometimes dealing with the consequences of decisions that you make. You know, you always hope for the best, and sometimes things don't go the way you think they're going to go, and you don't want to blame God. You know, you find yourself in that Job situation. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well, like how to, you know, deal with decisions that you've made, you know, and how to deal with the consequences of your decisions, which is actually a great spinoff from this topic. So,
Okay.
Okay.
I got it. Now, when I first put this picture up here, I saw it on another one of my followers' timeline. So I read it, and because normally I don't read paragraphs this big. it gotta be colorful with a flower, or a butterfly, a rainbow, or
like
something.
I got you right. Like the ones we post. No.
Yeah, it gotta be colorful.
Yeah.
So when I read it, I was like, okay, something saying read it. So I was like, oh, this is beautiful. I have to repost this. But it says, the gay boy you punched in the hall today committed suicide a few minutes ago. That girl you called a slut in class today, she's a virgin. The boy you called lame, he has to work every night to support his family. The girl you pushed down the other day, she's already being abused at home. The girl you called fat, she's starving herself. The old man you made fun of called up the ugly scars, he fought for our country. The boy you made fun of for crying, his mother is dying. You think you freaking know them. Guess what? You don't. Repost if you are against bullying. I bet 99% of you won't. But repost if you're that 1% with a heart. Now, my comment is for say it up here on the INNERMIX show, but you have to go look at it yourself. But I basically told people to leave other people alone. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so when I was reading the post, I was like, there are a lot of things that are said and things that we do, whether we think we're joking or whether we're serious about what we're saying in the moment. Because we say all kinds of things, like you ain't never gonna be nobody, you never are. You look at your mama and look at you. Like when black people say that, it's never a compliment, really. Not most of the time. Like, look at your mama and look at you. Like, it's like you gotta really pay attention to how it's said. You see what I'm saying? Because especially if you're from the South, right? If you're in the South, like, look at your mama, look at you. Or you hear, look at your mama, she pretty girl, and look at you pretty too. But it's always the grandmothers who say that. It's because when you hear it under a certain age, it's look at your mama and look at you. She ain't nothing. She got all them kids and all them men. Look at you.
You got that right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, because all that really happens.
That's this on so many levels.
Yeah.
Like you don't ever diss mamas. That's just. That's a different category.
That's fighting. I'm telling you. Say something about my mama and we gotta fight.
Exactly.
And don't you dare.
The only person I can say anything is me.
Right.
Well, and then I guess my dad, but whatever.
She said that my dad.
That's beside the point.
That's what.
But that's kind of like in the Asian household too. Like you're turning into your mom is like a really big no.
Oh.
If somebody, like I know a lot of people in my in my surroundings who if someone were to say to them, "You're turning into your mom," they will slap you. It's the worst insult ever.
Hey, I'm getting a notification that our okay, we're gonna have to go turn our cameras off so that we can get a better signal. And that way we're not breaking up as much. Some people are saying that we're breaking up when they're watching. So go ahead and just turn your camera off, Tati, because Jules has already turned her camera off. She ain't got no issues. She like.
I'm just ahead of the time. That's all.
You ahead?
Hold on, I got it. Is it off?
Yep, it's off. And Tati don't even have no picture on hers. Oh, we're gonna have to fix that. I'm gonna have to take a screenshot or something, because you're gonna be.
These things, I have to get it right. We have to get it right, Dean.
I understand. Okay, so yeah, like we're saying. Excuse me, I'm just having coughing attacks tonight. I need more coffee.
It's the weather, I'm telling you.
It is. It is. You ain't even out here, but yeah, it is.
I know. I'm over here. It's cold over here.
I
wish. Cold.
You want to come join from the show, Lab? You want to come join us? We're talking about things that are insulting and things that we have done to people that are. She's just having a good time listening and laughing at us. That's what she's saying. But the comment you made, Jules, about telling people that they're turning into their mother, that is kind of like, even in Hispanic, like when people hear that in the Hispanic community, they pretty much have the same reaction like as they do in the Asian community. You're turning into your mother. What? Bam! See, at least in the Asian community, they don't even say what, they just hit you. You see what I'm saying? But so I tried to tell him, okay, one day, my wife and her mother went out to have a girls' day, right? They both came home. They both decided to get haircuts. They both are built pretty much alike, and sometimes that just really bothers me when I think about that. But they're both kind of built alike. But my wife's a bit thinner, than her mom and stuff like that, right? And she's shorter than her mom. But they came in with the same hairdo, same look on. I mean, they were almost dressed the same, y'all. And I said, "You look like your mother." Now, Mom took that as a compliment. My wife did not. Not at all. So I learned that when making comparisons with the woman to their mother, be careful of how you structure the preamble. You got to be careful how you say things sometimes. Because I mean, I can tell Jules she's like her mom. I don't think that'd be as bad. I don't think it's a bad thing.
No.
No.
You can tell. You can say I look like my mom because I agree. Well, then again, I look like my dad too. But if you're saying I act like my mom, depending on what it is that you're talking about, on what aspect I act like my mom.
We don't need to specify. We just, do a general.
No, you do. You do. Trust me, you do.
No need to specify these things.
It needs to be full disclosure, like, down to the ABC specifics, dot all I's and cross all T's type thing.
She got a list over there. She's like, oh no.
In what way are you saying this to me right now? I need to know.
So if you ever get into a fight with Jules, and at the end of the fight you say, you know what, you're just so much like your mom, and then you walk away, no, run, don't walk. Run. Just run.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, so I was talking to my wife about this topic earlier, and we were, kind of going over, like, because she was telling me that in the news, there was a guy who recently, because they were being told, was it a guy or a girl? It was a guy who had been told basically that he was a waste of time, air, and flesh, basically, which is the things that I used to say to people. And he committed suicide because he just could not deal with the idea that he had no space where he belonged. Yeah, and it was a teen. It was a teen. And then so I made two observations at that point. One, without ever meaning to be in the bullying stand, being a bully, there are things that we do, that just have a bully-ish person, what's the good way to say that? Presence to it. We do things and say things that to us are funny in the moment, and because of how we feel emotionally at that time, it's pretty accurate. Our opinion is now fact, and we're gonna beat you with the fact.
Yep.
We're not just introducing you to the new fact. No, we're beating you with it. So, and then, so I wanted to ask this question. Do you think that as the generations go on, people become a little bit weaker in their ability to withstand criticisms and small amounts of people's observations about them? Like, it's one thing when the world is against you. That's how, celebrities have to deal with this stuff all the time. But, when you talk about a teenager, like, when I was in high school, people would say all kinds of things. And you might get mad, but the last thing you were really thinking about was taking your own life when you could take theirs. Like.
You're right, shoot.
I'm serious. Like, why would I take my life? I like me. You the one to have a problem with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I started, but it was true. Like, my wife's looking at me, laughing at me. But I'm telling you, it's like, because I used to, I've been on both sides of this coin, and I'm sure most of us have. Can you imagine you get into a fight with the one that you with, and because of some of the things you said in that fight, now they go off talking about, I'm going to take my own life. I can't take this anymore. Blah, blah. Right? Can you imagine? Could you be with a man who was so emotional that you wondered if the things you said were going to cause him to go commit suicide?
No.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? But they're so attached to everything you say that they have no sense of worth on their own. They have no sense of who they are on their own. Now, I'm not saying that, people don't go through their struggles, their ups, their downs, whatever, because, at one point I was suicidal. I was suicidal like 3 different points in my life. But I had no vision for myself. I had no view of myself. But the things that people said to me, like the only person that I could ever remember, because everybody has something to say. When it came to my skin, because of my eczema, my cousin used to tell me all the time that I was like an alligator, and he would never. So he said he used to tell people, he used to tell my own family members, even at family reunions, don't touch him because he's like an alligator. You're gonna cut your hand or whatever, right? My dad used to tell me that I was too black and blind to get a good woman. He said you need to just settle for whatever you can get because ain't no woman gonna really want to be with you or love you. They just gonna be with you probably because you're gonna have money or something. So you need to. So you.
I told you that.
My dad told me that almost every morning.
Where he at? So I can slap him.
Oh, he's dead now.
Tell no child that. Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh, God.
She said, "Oh, I'm sorry." I didn't take him out. But no, over the years, my dad and I, we had, reconciliated. But he used to, and we did right about a year before he passed away, and then he died in my arms. So, but it's amazing because you'd have never thought, especially back then when he was telling me this every morning, he'd be like, "Your mama told me to wake you up, so get up and understand that you're the ugliest thing walking." Or stuff like that. He used to say all kinds of things to me. And so I started to believe it. And then the only other time that I started to hear it that much was when we started doing the INNERMIX show. And then it brought back all the things, because things that the fans used to say, or people who listened to the show, they would see the pictures and stuff. They're like, "Oh, Jules is the cute one, and Dee's the ugly one. But he's the smart one, and she's the dumb one."
Oh, who said that?
Oh, these are people girl. Like for the first, what was it, 6-8 months of the show? That was it was absolutely insane. So it's one of those things where first off, we have a pretty cool partnership. The only thing I realized is that I can't let what they say affect me too much, because if it affects me too much, then Jules gets mad. If Jules gets mad, then we all lose everything we have. Like everything's gone. It's not pretty. I'm telling you, like, God honest, it's not pretty because it's just not pretty. So,
I don't care.
See, I
will just throw it down. I don't care.
She takes on the Marvin mentality in those moments.
Oh no. She must be pretty darn good. That's God.
She said that's the So, but anyway, so been on both sides of the coin. I used to think that there was no value for my life whatsoever, and I also used to believe that my mother kept me around because she had me, not because she wanted me. Because I felt like everybody else had something to contribute to our home, whether it was my little brother, older brother, or my sister, but I was the one who just really didn't have much to contribute. I felt like there was no sense, so when everybody was running to tell her their accomplishments throughout the household, I would just hang out in my room and be like, whatever, nothing I have to say is going to matter. And I started to really believe this about my life. So to the point to where when I was, an adult and out on my own, and actually a little before that, I used to call, when days were just horrible, like, there were days when I'd be walking down the sidewalk and get hit by a car because there was a new driver. And this happened to me for real. So the 16-year-old driver, if I didn't see the car coming, I wouldn't have jumped up to get onto the hood. You know what I'm saying? Because she lost, it was bad. But I used to believe that the worse the day was, the more it was meant for me. Like I used to call them Dion days. I used to say, like, these are my days. These are the days that belong to me. Good days, happiness, smiling, believing that, people wanted me in their life, all that kind of stuff was, a fantasy. And so I used to be in this, but this used to be my constant state of mind. So when I was in relationships, I was always in that place where I was saying, well, as long as they're happy, then it doesn't matter how I feel. And now you got people say, but I had friends who didn't go in for the okie doke. Like my friends didn't just say, "How are you feeling, D?" And they were like, because you give the general response, "Oh, I'm good," and then they're like, "Okay, cool. Well, I'll talk to you in 2 weeks." I didn't have those kind of friends. I had the ones who were like, "Why are you lying?" I had the "Why you lying" friends. I had them. I had a friend make me promise never to attempt to take my own life again because he knocked me out of a way. I was standing in front of a semi truck and waiting for it because I knew they wouldn't be able to stop in time. But he came out of nowhere and hit me like he was a football player, And I was like, I was pissed. I was hot, I was hot. I said, not only did you not let me, take my own life, but you hit me like a punk in the street. What? I wasn't sure. Well, I was a little confused about how I felt in the moment, so I just wrapped it all underneath hot. I was hot about it. So, but now you have these kids. But now a lot of these kids don't have the same support system. Like they don't have somebody who's going to run and hit them in the middle of the street to get them out of the way of a moving vehicle, figuratively or literally. Like a lot of times you have people who are just being told you have no value, and they leave it at that. But now people can follow it up with Instagram and and Twitter and Facebook posts.
Facebook.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like that now you have all this stuff out there, and people are constantly being reminded of how you feel about them. So, so have either of you been on either side of that coin, being the bully or being bullied?
Well, I don't get all, personal, but I'm gonna get personal on this subject.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say when I moved from Jersey and came to Virginia,
Mm.
I was in elementary school, but I felt like I was different from everybody else because I didn't think like everybody else. I didn't look at people and it was like, ew, what's wrong with them? I looked at people and was like, I wonder why this is that and why they are how they are. So I was always nice to everybody. I didn't just get this tough for nothing. I had to make myself tough. I was nice and sweet. I'm still nice, but I was nice and sweet. So this girl, I know, she said, I don't like you. I said, what? I said, well, I wasn't the type like, so I don't care. I said, well, why? What's the problem? She said, because your mother do your hair every day and you pretty. I said, I was so confused. I didn't know. I was a little girl. I was like 11. So I was like, okay. And she said, I slap you right now across this table. I said, go slap me. Come on. Now I won't stupid. I was nice. I said, okay, slap me. So she was like, no, I'm not going to slap you. So I went home and I told my grandma. And I think that was the wrong decision. I think maybe I should have just told the teacher or something. So she came up there and I'm livid. She was livid. And she was like, I want to know who this girl is and who her parents are and why does she think she can just come up to my grandchild and say something like that to her. So, and she's saying, where were you when this was going on? It was in the cafeteria. Now, what the teacher's supposed to do in the cafeteria? She's supposed to just stand over all of us as we eat our food and just say, okay, you don't do this, you don't do that. Don't talk to this person like that. Don't talk to that person like that. No, they got to eat too. So grandma starts sitting in the class.
Oh, she came to. Oh, that's such a black custom. You know, I'm going to school with you. I'm going to school.
So I was like, oh Lord, what did I do? I ain't had no problem with her sitting in the class, but I know how she is. She'll try to be the mama of the whole class. So the girl was like, now, this is what I didn't know about the girl. She had a lot of siblings. Her mother was real sick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever call a child ugly because you're still a child. You didn't even grow into your looks. So I don't, maybe to her, she had low self-esteem. That's what I'm saying.
Mm.
She wasn't happy with herself, which is normal. You try to put other people down that's not happy with themselves. So, but grandma, she didn't care about that. You won't go mess with me. So she said, okay, now where's her parent? Because she sat up there and everything was fine. The girl ain't say nothing. She stayed away from me. The teacher was kind of scared that something was going to happen. So she was like, okay, now, is her mother coming to pick her up today? Because I haven't seen her mother in a week.
Mm.
So grandma leaves, we get in the truck. We both of us leaving. She just so happened to see the little girl and her mama. She said, is that the girl? That's the girl mother right there? I said, grandma, I don't know. I've never seen this girl's mother. And she said, well, we going to find out. Come on. Yanked me out the car and said, excuse me, are you this child's mother? And she was like, yes. So her daughter just started crying. And she was like, Grandma and that lady stood in front. I thought it was gonna get real bad. I thought they was gonna get into it because the little girl just started crying. You know, that means you did something to her daughter. So she stopped and she was like, "Are you the lady that the teacher was telling me about who sits in the class because my daughter was picking with your granddaughter?" And she says, "Yes." And she wasn't. She wasn't ignorant because she can get ignorant. She wasn't ignorant. She wasn't loud. She calm. She was calm because the lady was speaking with a calm tone. She said, "I'm so sorry. I don't know what's getting into her, and I try to raise her better." And she was Muslim, and you know we was a Christian family. We was a Christian family, and that she was Muslim. Her mother had the clothes and everything. Like that's how she did her daughter, because her daughter used to wear the, I don't know what it's called, the headpiece.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
So
They were naming that.
yeah, she was a mean little thing. So her and grandma sat and talked and laughed or whatever. The girl still ain't like me. I didn't care, but she ain't say nothing to me. I ain't started really getting. After that, I was the one who went to the bullies. I never bullied nobody. I don't even know how to be a bully. I'm aggressive, but I'm not a bully. So
Do you think people understand the difference between the two nowadays?
I don't. I think they switch. They turn things into what they want to turn them into instead of what they actually are. Like, I don't even think sometimes when people come off as if they're trying to bully you, I don't even think they know what they're doing. Because
Well,
I think it's a gray area somewhere, but I don't think they know. I don't think they know how to separate the two.
Jules, have you ever been a bully or been bullied?
Not that I recall. I mean, I think I'm one of the, I'm really, really lucky. I've had people around me that got bullied. I remember once in high school, um, I knew somebody. I wasn't like close friends with her, but I knew her. She was in one of my classes. And I thought she was popular. She was, rich and pretty and whatever. And then for some reason she got bullied by the older classmen. And I just remember one time she got her butt whooped in the bathroom by a bunch of them. And I wasn't there, so I don't know, but apparently like they socked her and like threw her head against the mirror and broke it, and so like it went like crazy gangster style. Like, and I didn't believe it for a while because I was like, that only happens in movies. But then apparently it really did happen.
Happened on my honeymoon.
But this is like the
Oh God.
story of my
really
life. Certain things, I was so sheltered growing up. I didn't know so many things until way later in life, and I think I was protected because I don't know. I don't know why, but it's just how it's been in my life. Like I could have so easily been bullied if I think about it back in, my childhood and stuff. Like I came to the States. I was born in Korea. I was a fob. I came when I was 8. I spoke no English. I barely knew my ABCs. I got dropped off. Well, not dropped off, but I was taken to Michigan, where there are pretty much no Asians. I mean, there are some, yes, but not very many, not as many as like LA, and or some other parts of the country. And there was a small Korean church that that we went to, and then when I went to school, I was the only Asian kid. I was also the only Asian kid all throughout elementary school. It was only until junior high that I was able to see people of the yellow color, but all through this time, I had no clue about me being a different color, me not fitting in. I didn't experience any of that. Maybe I was completely oblivious to it. That could have been the case. Or people could have said things, I just didn't hear it. I don't know. but it's like things were blocked for me for some reason. And in elementary school, I made friends. Even my parents were odd. They were like so shocked and curious on how I would get invited to people's houses, and I would stay over at people's other kids' places and have dinner with their family and that kind of stuff. Like I would get invited, and they're like, how do you communicate? I don't understand, because you speak no English. And what do you guys say to each other? And apparently I told my dad telepathy in my like young age of 8. I somehow knew the word telepathy and told him that's how I communicate with people. But back then everything was just literally body language for me. It was all, maybe that's why I'm so keen to body language now, but I learned body language so early on how to speak with people then. And then through that, I don't know, I just and then moving to LA and blah blah blah, I think I face more of the bullying or that kind of stuff now as an adult than I did as a child, where I'm more impressionable. So luckily it's by saving grace, I didn't get bullied when I was a child, or I wasn't aware of being bullied when I was a child, so it didn't leave a lasting scar on me until later on in life, where I'm able to fight it off a little bit easier because I know who I am and I'm stronger. And I face it now, here and there, but I didn't really face it full on when I was a kid. But I've seen it happen to people, which sucked. And even somebody in my close circle actually apparently was in the state of getting bullied post high school, like right after high school. Somehow I wasn't even around for that. I didn't even see that until later. I don't know. It's weird. So no.
I understand what you're saying, because when I was in high school, it was these two big dudes. I'm talking about football player dudes, and I'm small. Mm-hmm. I'm 5'4", 105 pounds. So, like.
So you're Jules' weight. Gotcha.
Yeah, we about the same thing.
Yeah, when I was 12.
I thought you look kind of small. You look petite.
I ain't 105 pounds. Small.
I'm 5'5" and a half. No, I'm 5'5" and 3/4. I like to say I'm 5'6".
Okay, you're very big, Jules. Very big. But okay,
I almost spit out my water.
we're going at it, and he was picking on him because one of the boys was a drug dealer, but the other boy, he was just trying to fit in. I don't like people who just try to fit in, but I understand why they just trying to fit in, because I've been around y'all situation. I know what y'all trying to do. That's y'all method. That's how y'all get by. So he was calling him ugly and talking about his mama, and I was getting mad for him. I'm talking about, my whole face was red. I was shaking. Now my little sister like, calm down, please. Don't say nothing, because it's only us two on the bus, and what we gonna do? So I stand up on the seat in the bus while the bus moving and said, stop talking about him and stop talking about his mama. So everybody just looked at me like, oh my God, she just said that to Shaq. He was the biggest bully up there. He didn't care if he was a girl. He didn't care if he was a boy. He something was really wrong with him, because he would put his hands on anybody. I had God. I don't care. Say what you want to see. I got God and Grandma. You can't.
She said I got God and Grandma. I'm good.
That's right. He really left him alone though. He left him alone. I always stood up for everybody who was getting bullied.
Ooh, yeah. See, there were, like I said, like there are times when, without meaning to or whatever, like people have because especially today, it's part of the culture to destroy people's self-esteem or a view of themselves. I mean, that's what sells magazines, and that's what sells, that's what gets followers on blogs and whatever, by stating your opinion of everybody's everything. If you don't, then like if you don't have a negative opinion about something, you're not going to get much traffic, or you're not going to get much, whatever. It's becoming where people want to see the negative more. And and I think about some of the things that I've gone through or whatever. Like discrimination is a very interesting thing, and then a lot of people like to play on your own fears, about your life, yourself. Like I was talking to someone recently who had a big fear of turning 23 because she felt like that means that her opportunities are going to go away because she's getting too old, But culturally, 23 for her culture is kind of old. You should already be, accomplishing something, or you should already be about to get married, or you should already be having your first, second, third child, depending on depending on what's going on, right? So. And then people kept playing to that insecurity. I like over the last, like I was thinking about this today for a couple different reasons, but every time I go somewhere, I end up doing a lot of marketing for INNERMIX. Like whether I'm at the hospital, whether I'm whatever, like I give people the card, they tune into the show, they they become fans, or they then next time I go back, especially to the doctor's office or to these hospitals, because I found out that people have been literally photocopying our business card instead of asking me for more and giving them to their friends. I said, that is so interesting. I've never heard of that before. Like, well, I only had the one, and so I wanted to make sure that I can give it to my girlfriend because I like the topic y'all have on y'all show. So I just photocopied your card, and stuff like that. And then I got the color copy because your partner, she's cute, so I wanted people to see she's cute and that she's actually working with you. And I'm like, oh man, because so a lot of because doctors or like it's really the nurses in this situation. But so I went to this new place for a dermatologist because I've been having crazy allergic reactions. My skin's been doing some god awful things, but it's all because of the allergens and all this kind of stuff going on, right? And this one nurse, when she saw what the medication that they had given me basically did to me, she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but I don't know if your partner's gonna be able to deal with the way you look." That's how she said it.
Huh?
Yeah, she was like, she's like, well, what I would do if I were you is I would just, because she felt like because you're Asian, and because she went into an explanation. She said, well, Asians are pretty judgmental about appearance. So if I were you, I would just keep everything covered up, and I wouldn't show her my skin or anything, because she won't even, girls like that won't even hold your hand, let alone, be partnered or want to be seen with you in pictures. But she was really trying to be helpful. You see what I'm saying? Like this was her trying to be like, because as we get you onto this new medication or whatever, I would just hide all these things going on with you so that she doesn't try to say she can't be partnered with you because she can't be seen with you, type thing. And it's amazing how people find that, how they think that that's kind of helping you. And then she called me a couple. Like not too long after that, she said, well, we think that she's like, I just wanted to check on you to see, how you're doing, because my skin, just to let everybody know, I already have eczema, but then these allergies and stuff got so bad that at one point, because of everything going on, my skin was getting so hot that it was burning itself. I was getting third-degree burns without me having to do anything. My skin was just getting that hot. And so when I started breaking out and stuff from it, so she would call and say, well, maybe what you might want to do, because she was trying to come up with other suggestions. She's like, I was talking to my husband, and I couldn't tell him your name or anything, but I had to let him know that you're a public figure, and that maybe you should just wear gloves everywhere you go for a while. Like, that's what Michael Jackson did when he hurt himself.
Wow.
I showed him pictures of your partner, and and his reaction was like mine. Oh, you're Asian. She's Asian, so she's not going to really want to be around somebody who has any kind of skin issue. And I was like, man, this is. And they think they're helping. Like it's like you can't be mad at somebody who thinks they're helping you. You just have to correct them. But can you imagine, like, how often people keep trying to help? Other people out. Maybe if you get some plastic surgery, you'll do better.
Mm.
Maybe maybe if you just get a bigger butt, like that's a new thing right now, right? Everybody's doing butt songs and everybody's trying to have a bigger butt. Then people will accept you more. There's all these things that people say, and but it always caters to your insecurity. And then because when the woman was talking, I couldn't help but think about, you can't help but think about the things that, like, for me, the things my dad had said back in the day, or the things that my cousin used to say back in the day. And if I hadn't come to, cope with some of it, then it would have been, I'd have found excuses or reasons not to be in the same areas with Jules, because I'm good at that, But it would have been really interesting, and so it's just like it's just a lot of things people say that tear each other down, and they have no idea what your experience is. And by the time, no one seems to care what your experience is until something bad happens to you.
Right.
And it's like people out the blue will come and say stuff to me, and then it pisses off Jules.
I never understand. I don't get it. It's like, why are you taking time out of your day just to go over to somebody you don't know, complete stranger, to say mean things? I don't understand that. I never understand it, and I still don't understand it, and I still get hot when it happens. And I think maybe, like I said, I'm lucky I never got to experience it for myself. And I my heart goes out to those that have, and I think that's why I'm so protective of, like Tati, I'm very protective of, like, the underdogs. I'm very protective of people who don't have a voice yet for themselves, and I always want to support them because it's not fair. Like, they have things they want to say, they have things they value themselves, yet people who are so ill or mean-spirited, for, I don't know, I mean, they could be going through stuff themselves too, but to outwardly show that to hurt somebody else on purpose, I don't get that part. It's one thing, like, like with what Dee was saying, that lady, the nurse, she was actually trying to help. It's not that she was going out of her way to be malicious and hurt his feelings, or say horrible things to make him feel bad on purpose. It wasn't, her intentions were actually good. The outcome was not good, but her intentions were pure, as far as I can tell. But those people whose intentions in themselves or itself is so dark and so polluted and just like poisonous, I don't get that. Why are you so, those people, they need help, because it comes from something really, really dark deep inside, that they're so unhappy that they have to outwardly make other people just as unhappy as they are. And it's a very, very sad place to be. But yeah, I'm always anyway, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so Joey, oh, sorry, Tati, do you have to go? I'm sorry, dear. I told Tati she could just stay up for an hour because she's 3 hours ahead of us, y'all. So, are you good, Tati, or do you need to go?
Yeah, we only got 30 minutes. I just study for my test after this.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Tati. So we got a question. First off, the guy named Joey says nice. When he put a comment on right underneath our show posting right now, and he's like, nice, in terms of just how we deal with these different situations that are coming up and happening in life. But then I got another question that came in, basically saying, so can you cite a recent example, of people, basically what's the short version of it, because people like to write paragraphs. When they get emotionally attached to our conversations, they write books and they want us to read the whole book online out loud, but it's not going to happen today. But basically, Angela's question was, can I name a more recent example of something that's happened to me, in terms of this kind of behavior or whatever. Well, like Jules was saying, Angela, like I seem to attract a lot of public opinion on people just in the public just like to, they talk to me when they have an issue and they talk to me when they have issues. Like it like it just doesn't seem to matter what, they just seem to be okay with doing kind of crazy things. But recently I was going to a doctor's appointment, and I was debating on whether to tell my wife about this, because she gets very she gets very protective, and she gets very mad. Like, pissed doesn't even begin to describe how she gets when it comes down to some of the things that happen to me in the street. But anyway, so clearly, like everybody knows, I'm visually impaired. So when it comes down to me, when there's changes in the routes, like, so to get I'd get off the bus, I'd walk down the block to cross the street to start walking toward my doctor's, and the sun is in my eyes, so automatically I can't really see the street lights. But more so than that, there was some road work going on, so they had to. So for me to cross straight across, the Caltrans worker would have had to stop traffic, which he was doing for other people, and let me around his truck, or I would have to do that, cross thing, cross 3 sidewalks, 3 crossings, just to get back to the direction I was going. Well, I had, I'm walking I'm walking in a way where you clearly know I cannot see. Okay, and the Caltrans worker was standing there smoking a cigarette and not offering to help, smiling and joking, and smiling and laughing at the fact that I couldn't see the lights. And then because of where their truck was, they had to redivert traffic a little bit, so I couldn't use my normal skill sets to cross the street, right? Because I couldn't depend on when these cars were going. Well, so then a woman gets upset. And she starts to, actually, somebody comes up at first, and they recognize that I need help crossing the street. So they come up to me, and then I'm wearing short sleeves that day, and someone stops. Someone says, no, don't touch him. He must have the Ebola or something. Look at him. Don't touch him. Ugh, no. And she literally turns around and walks away. So I'm still stuck on the corner, not able to cross the street yet. This is like 2 weeks ago. Like 2 weeks ago, something like that. So, yeah, like 2 weeks ago. So then another older woman, she comes up, and she comes up and she's like, I saw the whole thing, and this is absolutely ridiculous, And so then she helps me get, across these streets or whatever. But meanwhile, the Caltrans worker is busting up. Now, the woman said this. Well, she said some things, but she said this. She said this guy let other people cross the street, help, by stopping traffic with the stop sign. But he made you walk all around this thing and laugh the whole time. I mean, this guy literally laughed the whole time. And the rest of the walk down to the doctor's office, I ran into other people who kept saying, look at you. Oh, my God, what's wrong with you? Oh, I'm so sorry. One person actually said, I'm so sorry, because they saw I had a wedding ring on, said, I'm so sorry for your wife that she has to look at you like this. And I'm like, what? How did this happen to me? Like, what is going on? So I'm like, this is the most incredible walk I have had in a very long time. Yeah, it was an incredible walk, because I'm like, this is so bad. Some people take time to apologize to me. They say, I'm so sorry that your wife has to deal with you not being able to see. I'm so sorry that your wife has to deal with looking at you. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's a very, and they think they're being, well, I know some just are just out there, but some think they're really just, they're so sad. We were in Walmart one day, and some woman said, she said, she must hate that she decided to marry him, because I was walking with my cane through Walmart, teaching my wife how to do sighted guide. And so the woman, she thought she was whispering, but, I'm blind, so my ears are extra. You know what I'm saying? And she was so sad that she's like, she must really regret now that she's got those 2 kids and she's got him. That's like a 3rd child.
Oh my gosh.
It was, so I'm like, this is interesting. So these kinds of things kind of happen. So my wife was like hot. Now, I'm not saying I was happy about it, but I'm more used to it. So because of it, I don't let it like destroy my entire day. And because, I used to be a different person. So the last thing I wanted to do was mouth back the things that first come to mind. It's better just to keep moving. You see what I'm saying? To keep, but my wife.
Sometimes I think maybe they need to hear it.
What key did she start in? Did you see her? She started high. She looked like Minnie Mouse, you know. She went from Minnie Mouse to wow, that was crazy. Well, see, the thing is, you have to know yourself, right? I know me that once, you know, there are certain phrases that if I know I'm going to start with a phrase, it's better that I just don't start with it at all. You know, like when I tell people, look, I got you, you know, immediately I understand that exactly what you asked for is what you're going to get, right? And that's not always a good thing. When it comes down to people talking a certain way, if I go at them the way that I feel they're coming at me, then I've seen that. I've seen my brother do it because I've heard people say the same thing about him. And he's actually started fights in the middle of stores that I had to take care of because he started answering back. And when this one woman told him, look, you don't even know when it's coming, so I could just knock you out and walk away. You know, I'm like, now I'm going to have to describe her to herself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, sometimes it's better just to hold it and keep moving so that they don't affect the rest of your day, because I don't want to spend the rest of my day filling out paperwork in the middle of a store. Which I've done before. You see what I'm saying? So, but no, there are just things that happen that it's like people think they're being helpful. People think they understand your situation, your walk, your journey, whatever, and then they have an opinion about everything. Like, I get upset. I get more upset when people tell me stuff about, you know, when they say they used to tell me that my wife was not smart, right? Now, anybody who knows my wife knows that that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Or they used to tell me that people have actually tried to tell me that Jules was not going to be able to, with, you know, that she had no real value other than the fact that she looked good. So that made me hot. That, you know, that would make me. There were a couple times when our partner at the time had to help settle some situations down for that one. Because I went on and told them about, because, you know, people start telling you about your artist, so I start telling them about theirs. And I remember once letting somebody know that I said, well, while you're sitting here talking about my artist, you know that your artist is out there spreading VDs, right?
Oh, God. Oh, gosh.
You know, and they're like, what do you mean? I said, I know, because if your wife ever decided to check, she'd find out you got it from her too. You know, and I said, so I suggest we just stop talking about artists. You know, because, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's just crazy things that people start, you know, that they think it's okay to talk about. They think it's okay to go at. Now, me and my brother used to say all the time, we're walking targets. You walk with a cane, then people are going to, especially in LA, you walk with a cane, people are coming at you. You know, it just happens that way. We've seen people pushed into manholes. We've seen people.
I don't understand that. I don't get that part at all.
It don't make sense. It don't make no sense. But it is a reality of, you know, it's just the reality of our lives. People always want somebody who they feel are stronger than to, you know, take out their frustrations on. You know, and blind people tend to walk with their head down more because they don't need their eyes, right? So people perceive that as a sign of weakness. So there are classes to teach blind people how to keep their head up, not because they're looking at anything, but because of the perception that they have more power and confidence. But a lot of people who walk with their head down are very, very confident. You know, but it's a visual situation. So, but I've literally gone into fights, especially when I was younger, because people would push these blind kids into the street or leave them in the middle of the street, you know, when they're supposed to be the sighted guys. You're supposed to trust this person, and they just abandon you because they think it's funny to watch you try to get out of the situation. You know, so yeah, it's it's jacked up. No, you know, so but there's a lot of the kind of stuff that happens, and but bullying, it doesn't seem to have an age anymore. It's not a high school, a junior. It's a you know, when you look at all the things going on in the news and around the world right now, it's no longer just a high school, junior high type thing. It's a It's a I want to dominate you type thing. I want you to feel the pressure that I put on you type thing, because that's what makes others happy. People always want to feel like they're superior. They don't want to feel equal to anybody. Even when people talk about marriage now, they say, well, they say that 50-50 thing is just a guideline, but it's never really going to happen because there's always somebody in charge, and blah blah. So there's no such thing as an equal partnership in a marriage. I'm like, what? So it's just things that people like to incite confusion and disrupt lives and totally. But before we go, because I know we're going to have to go soon, I want to tell you guys a bit about the situation that I came across, and she said it was okay to talk about it as long as I didn't mention any names. But today, I got a call from somebody that I've known or dealt with over the I guess for the last 3 years or something, like 3 or 4 years. And she's not like a really close friend or anything, but she's somebody that I've been aware of since she was in her teens. And so recently, so she's had, she over the years she's had some ups and downs or whatever, but she had a baby not too, she's actually has 2 kids now. And a while ago, I had to let her know that if she didn't change her lifestyle around a bit, she's going to end up making decisions that's going to not only affect her but her children, right? So she now she believes in God, and she tries to walk the straight and narrow road, but she thought that just because she believed in God that she was not going to have consequences to her actions, right? Or the decisions that she made. Well, was that a sneeze or a what? I'm sorry.
What?
Oh yeah, she thought she thought everything was going to pass her by because she believed in God, and and ultimately she was thinking about herself in the moment. She wasn't thinking about herself in the future, and then she wasn't prepared for like when my wife agreed to marry me, for example, she knew that I was going to be blind, right? So she knew that she was taking on certain things. She knew I had certain health issues. Now, I'm sure that she didn't expect things to get a little bit worse health-wise over the years, but she knew that she wanted to be with me through sickness and in health until death do us part. And she also understood that there was a risk that my children might have an eye issue as well. She knew all these things going in, but she really wanted to be with me. Well, my friend, she married a guy who I don't know if they got married, but she got with a guy who has herpes, and I didn't know this at first. And this past weekend or so, one of her children started breaking out with this incredible rash, like just awful. I mean, it scared her half to death. It scared, it just came out of the blue. And she was calling me because she was when the doctor said what it was, and as a result of it's a result of having children with when one of the spouses has herpes or whatever. And it's not uncommon, let me put it like that, it's not uncommon for this to happen, but it is something you can do something about. You can help the child not to be as not go through as much, you see what I'm saying, like, because the kid was in pain and stuff too, and it's just a little baby, he's I think like 1 or 2 years old. So anyway, but the issue that I want to let everybody know is, just because you love God, just because things are, because you believe that He's able to do do all, doesn't mean that He's going to let everything pass you by. If that were the case, I wouldn't be going through some of the stuff we wouldn't go through half the stuff we go through if God was just going to let stuff pass us by. He just said that He's not going to give us more than we can bear. There's a difference. But she was really upset, and I understood it. It's kind of like that. I had a blind child upset, or I had a blah blah. But she really was upset because she had this because she thought that whatever she agreed to do with her own body would not affect her children, right? And now she's concerned about the other child getting it passed on. She's afraid that her son is never going to find a woman who's going to accept the fact that he has this issue that's not his, and not his fault, and blah blah. And I had to let her know, because there's a lot of these things going on right now. There's a lot of these people who are having these incredible fears about the decisions that they make affecting their generations and on that. Because I've been talking to people about these kind of situations, whether it was AIDS or whether it's hepatitis and all these kind of things, for the last 6 weeks or so, 6-7 weeks or so. But this one hit me, and it hit me hard because she got mad at God because God didn't cover, didn't make sure that the baby didn't catch anything just because she made some decisions. And
she needs to be more medically aware of certain things.
You think?
That's what it seems like.
I'm gonna go with that. Like, what do you, God? Go ahead, Dion.
No, like it's one of those things.
It's like saying, "Oh, I didn't know. I literally heard somebody say this out of their mouth. I've always had sex without a condom. I never got pregnant. So how did I get pregnant this time? Are
Really?
you kidding me?"
Wow.
Yes.
You were ovulating.
I wanted to slap this person.
Who knows?
When that came out of this person's mouth, I was like, what? How old are you? Did you go to school? Did you have sex ed? I don't understand.
It's a, well.
But yeah. But I mean, it's to that degree. Like,
yeah.
It's an STD.
Well, yeah.
You have it on. I mean, you needed to talk to a doctor. 'Cause that's just, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a very interesting, because we all get kind of, as Christians, we all kind of get in, at one point or another, until we mature, we kind of get into that place where we feel like, well, God loves me, true, and, he wants, and he's going to, keep me moving down the road that I'm supposed to be on. I trust, I believe in him, true. So if I make this mistake or I make this error or I just make a decision, it's not always a mistake or an error. Sometimes you just make a decision because you're caught up in the emotional moment or whatever, that he's just going to accept it and he's going to let none of the bad repercussions hit me. So if I drink and drive, he's going to make sure I get home okay. And, so, because that's how come some people get abused, some people get used to drinking and driving. They're like, well, like, I have so many friends who, by the grace of God, have not died driving home. You know what I'm saying? Because, people always think I'm different, I'm special, and I have work in the morning, so I'm going to go ahead and drive now. But they know that they're not, good to drive, but they still do it. So, that's favor. Because that's like when I used to snatch my kids back when they tried to walk in the street, leaving outside the store, and I would just snatch them up like, you lucky I was right here. But when you get older, I'm not going to always be there to snatch you back because you know better. You know better than to be stepping into the street and stuff like that. So, but this girl, I literally spent, I don't know, out 2 hours or so, 2.5 hours or so, talking to her, helping her understand that this is not the end of your situation. This is not the end, but you know these things. You know that this was a possibility. You know that that you weren't always who you are now. You know that these things, there was a chance of these things happening, but you thought that because you didn't see any signs or symptoms of the thing on you, that it wasn't going to affect you. And I said, but let's deal with the fact that, okay, so now it's a reality. And that's the hardest thing for a lot of Christians to do is, okay, now it's a reality. What are we going to do? Do we trust God in the midst of our reality? Or do we get mad at God because he didn't give us the fictional reality that we wanted? He didn't give us the fantasy that we thought, because we were trying to decide for him what we could and could not handle. So it's one of those things where, because of some of the things that I've seen and some of the things there's a pun, but because of some of the things that have come to my attention lately, I want to encourage you guys and also remind you that there is a consequence for every action, whether it's good or bad. Every decision that I have made, I have had to deal with the good or bad repercussions of those things.
Mm-hmm.
I love, and the one I was explaining to her was, I love working with Jules. Like, literally, I mean, I love it. It's a passion. It's a gift, I believe, from God. But I lost everything in the pursuit of that, and I had to start everything back over again. Same thing happened with my wife. I love my wife more than I can even explain. but I lost everything, a lot of things along the way to make my marriage. What is that?
I don't know.
Tati, are you playing rhythms over there? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, but there's a lot of, you know, in order to, in order to understand how God works in your life, you have to take the time to accept the fact that God knows what He's doing, and you have to understand that He will give you the strength to make it through. Tati, are you moving around? Can you even hear me?
Hello?
I didn't.
I don't know what's happening.
I was like, can she even hear me? Hmm.
Let's mute her mic for a second.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm like, wait a minute. First there was a rhythm, and then it was anyway. What I'm saying though is, God is not going to just leave you somewhere. I understand nobody wants to have a decision they made affect their children, but every decision we make affects our children. You never want to see a negative thing, but you could put your kid in the wrong school. It could be a great school district and put them in the wrong school. There's always a consequence to the actions that we take. But one thing that you have to remember is that God is able. God is so able that you don't have to get super, you're going to go through, you're going to get emotional, but you don't have to give up on His ability to take care of you. And that was, although it was draining, it was a great 2.5 hours, because at the end of it, she started to see that there was hope. But sometimes we go through stuff and it doesn't seem like there's hope at the end of that tunnel for us. It doesn't seem like, because we're caught up. We're and then everybody, and this is the issue, this is why I said this would be good to talk about during this particular episode. Her mother, her sister, and some of her friends told her that it's all her fault. They sat there, and instead of saying, baby, we're going to make it through this, we're going to help you, we're going to help, we're going to get, we're going to get educated, so that we know what to do for the baby and do for you. They sat there and accused her of her sin. They because, matter of fact, I do know she's married to a different guy, but not the guy who is the father of this kid. Yeah. So she, there's just so much, and it broke my heart to hear her so hopeless, because everybody in theory always believes they know what they would do if something happened. That's, like people train in CPR. And they believe, and first aid stuff, and they believe that they know what they're going to do when something happens. But the reason why, because you really want to know how to handle situations, you really want to know what to do. My wife is trained in CPR and first aid stuff. She's certified, this, that, and the other. But if we rolled up on an accident and somebody was severely hurt, she would freeze up. She almost does it when our babies get hurt. So if she saw somebody out in the wild, oh my God, but out in the world, she would probably still have a very similar, thing happen, where she'd kind of freeze up. I've been in situations where I literally watched somebody fly out the back of a car from getting into an accident. They flew out the back window of a car. I've seen somebody get hit in the street. You know what I'm saying? And all this is, but I also know what I would do in those situations, because I usually run toward the issue and not away from it. But that's because that's what I know I would do. But so if my children had an issue or whatever, which they've had, then I run to it. I don't freeze and freak out. But when people do freeze and freak out, that's not necessarily wrong either. That's just how they react to the situation. You never know what you're going to do till you're there. You can prepare yourself, but you're never really going to know what you're going to do until you're there. And she thought, because she knew a few things, that because she works in the medical industry, she thought she knew how she would react, because she thought she knew some things. But she was so hurt and so distraught and so, whatever, and she started saying that God let her down. And now she's at that place where she's like, okay, you know, I didn't know I knew so many scriptures, to be quite honest. I didn't know I knew so many situations that dealt with this particular type of episode happening. But what broke her, what hurt her the most is when the people who were also claiming to be saved and claiming to be her friends and started telling her that it's her fault, that they started accusing her of not knowing how to make good decisions. And these are decisions she made obviously 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, because there's gestation and having the child. You see what I'm saying? So, but because of that, she just got jaded, really quick.
I mean, what's the point of accusing, not just reprimanding or just chastising someone for something that is in the past? It's not like she can go back and change it. It's not like she can undo anything.
Well,
the past happened. Yeah. But
somebody told her that if she had she should have never had the child. They told her that because of her decisions that she just made a big mistake in even having him, because now she's making him suffer, and for her decisions. And no mother, nobody ever wants to hear that kind of stuff, because there are lawsuits called wrongful life lawsuits, where people say that the doctor didn't tell them enough information, so because of the doctor didn't give them enough information, then so that they can make an informed decision about whether to have the child or not, now the child is suffering in their life. And so so these medical people say, if you don't have proof that you didn't get if the doctors don't have proof that they told you this about this child's future, then you might win a large amount of money to cover, the treatments and stuff for the child and whatever. Usually it's with spinal bifida and stuff like that, but or there's a few others, but that are detectable while the child's in the womb. But it's a very, so people just said you shouldn't have ever had this child. You should have blah blah. So she was beating herself up. And
again, 2 years later, what's the point of saying this? The child is born. He's a baby. He's alive. He's in this world. What the hell is going to change by you griping her about something that's already done?
Yeah, but that's primarily what the discussion had to be. It's like, he's here now, and there's nothing, you can't take that back. You can't take those decisions back. All you can do now is become stronger and show this child how to live in this world. Because he's not going to always have these rashes. He's not going to always, this and the other, but it will be a part of who he is.
Right.
So, so he just has to now learn how to, it's like learning how to live with asthma, like learning how to live with eczema, it's like learning how to live blind, it's like learning how to live because you lost a limb, or like one of my friends back in the day, his mother burnt his ear off. How are you going to, if you believe that no one's ever going to see you for who you are because of these things that have happened to you without your control. None of these things are within our control. So yeah, my mother chose to keep smoking even though I had asthma. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna sit there and be like, the doctors told her, hey, you keep smoking, he's gonna have an even harder time as he gets older with his asthma. But she was addicted to the nicotine at the time. So people can yell, like, look what you've done to his life, blah blah. But that was a decision she made when she was young. This woman, same thing. She may have been caught up in the moment with the guy she was seeing, and it's not like they were just together for a short period of time. I'm sure. I'm hoping. You see what I'm saying? But she, at the time, was locked up emotionally in the relationship she was in. I'm hoping. You see what I'm saying? But even if she were...
Regardless, even if she weren't, regardless, that's in the past. If she's still acting the same way, then yes, let's talk about this, because this can't be something that you repeat. But if she's already over it, she's learned from her mistakes, why keep, putting that mistake back into her face and slapping her with it for something that she's already... dealt with.
Because we like to gauge people's sins and mistakes. We like to look at how much worse people's decisions were than ours, when it's really not worse. It's just that some people...
It's different.
It's different, and even if it was the same thing, doesn't necessarily mean that we're all going to have the same consequence.
Right.
So, so it's just, hey, if God allowed something to happen, it's because he knows that you're strong enough to deal with it, and you don't even know what the plan is. All you know for sure is that he knows the plan he has for you, and that is for goodness and to get you to heaven. You know that it's to keep you strong and keep you moving and keep you believing that he's able. So now that you've hit a situation that you can't deal with, let him take over, because he's going to strengthen you and make a way, for the child. So, it is what it is. But as we, as a lot of us, as we go through life, whether it's parents, whether it's marriage, whether it's whatever, the only thing is that God is in control. That is the only thing for sure, that you should know for sure. I can't even say that you do, but that you should know for sure is that God is able and that he's in control. If your spouse cheats on you, God can fix it. If you're in an abusive relationship, but you both understand that God is able and you both are reaching for God and not, toward violence, guess what? That relationship can work out. I've seen it. I've seen, a habitual cheater turn into a good husband and father. So I've seen it. Now, but it takes a certain kind of strength and a certain kind of, it takes really loving the person. And then the other thing too, now that I'm on this soapbox, and because I hear all these things all the time, love is not an emotion. Love is a decision.
Yep.
Okay? So because of it, you can't say, well, I fell out of love with somebody. No, you decided that you didn't want to be with the person anymore because you probably felt like there's other opportunities out there and you wanted to try something new. To love somebody is the decision, because they're not going to always be the person that you like today. Loving somebody has nothing to do with liking the things they do. Falling in love, as we call it, because there are several different kinds of love, but falling in love with somebody is usually because you've built a attachment to a person that you feel can be fulfilled with, not only emotionally but physically with that person. There's an eros kind of love. It's an erotic love. It's a passionate love. Okay, but that's not gonna. But it doesn't. But it's not. It doesn't last always. There are days when you wake up next to somebody and they smell. You see what I'm saying? Like. Yep. And you're like, oh, but I love you. You see what I'm saying? But please don't touch me. You see what I'm saying? Like there are those days. So when people go through the things they go through, it's not to end your relationship with God. When you go through these things, it's to increase your understanding of who God is and how he's able, even in situations that break your heart. And when this girl was going through what because she's young, she's in her like mid-20s or something like that. She's like 24, 25. So she felt like her life is over. And to help somebody understand that their life is not over, but that God is able, and that you trust them, that you need to trust God to handle situations. It's work, but it's worth it. And when she ended saying, "Okay, I'm going to make it," that's a statement that takes strength to say. And when we go through the things we go through, because I guarantee you're gonna go through something, and it may not even be far off. But when you do, it's important to understand that you will make it. You will make it through. So, and I wanted to encourage you guys on that point tonight, because there's a lot of things happening right now. A lot of illness, a lot of fear, a lot of, especially with the Ebola thing. And there's a lot of things going on. But the one thing that you have to remember is that you will make it. God is able. So don't be afraid of your upcoming decisions. Pray, seek God, and if it's for you, ask Him to reveal that to you. Ask Him to, undergird you and to give you the boldness and the confidence to move forward in that situation. If it's not for you, I'm sorry, I had something cross my mind, but if it's not for you, ask that God would close those doors and that He would give you the strength and the boldness to walk away from that thing. Okay? I know somebody right now who is chasing a relationship that is destroying them, literally destroying them. But they're older and they've been wanting a relationship for so long that now they're actually being hurt in this relationship emotionally and stuff, and yet they're holding on. It's almost like if I told Jules, even though this is nowhere near true, but it's like saying, you know what, you're pretty good you're pretty cute for being pretty fat. Right? If I said that to somebody, and all they heard was, "You're pretty cute," then they don't want to hear everything I said. They're not looking. It's part of our manipulation thing. They're not looking to hear the entire thing because they only hear what they want to hear. I know somebody right now who's in that situation, and because they've been praying for a spouse for so long, they feel like, well, this is better than nothing. And then every time that they say, "But Lord, if this is for me, give me a sign," then something happens to prolong to cause the relationship to not grow. But yet, instead they say, "Oh, well, that's just so that we learn how to survive together." This person has had their wedding postponed twice already, because of something that he said, did, or whatever. And but yet she's still holding on for dear life because she doesn't want to feel, because she doesn't want to hear, she doesn't want to see that this is not for her. This is not the right relationship for her. And so all I can tell people is, if it's not for you, but you really want it, ask God to give you the boldness to walk away from the thing that is not, if it's not for you. Ask Him to reveal it to you and to give you the boldness and the clarity of vision to help you walk away. That's what I had to do in my relationship before the one with my wife. And I pray that this one, before she decides that she's going to stay in this relationship, that God will reveal it to her, because it's literally killing her slowly. And she doesn't see it. Her family sees it, everybody sees it, but she doesn't see it. So those who believe that God is able, they believe in Jesus Christ, I'm asking that you would also pray for each other, and that we all have a clear vision that God helps us to make the right decisions for our future. Because you don't want to end up in something that you claim is from God, and then you lose all your you lose your belief in God. You make the person your new God, and you start moving away from it. There's a lot of things that are happening right now because people are just afraid, and they just don't know what to do. And I know that it's not what you guys planned on hearing, but I also see that what you guys wanted to hear and what you needed to hear. You can work hard at something that doesn't work. Okay, it's very possible. Ask anybody in the music industry, they'll tell you. You can work really hard at something that doesn't work. But find out that there's a new skill, and there's a new way, and there's another way, there's another road that will take you further than you thought the first one was going to take you. But it's time to get real with what's really happening in your relationships, especially because that there's a destructiveness to a lot of relationships right now. And we've been talking about it periodically on the show, and we've been talking about it, and I know that a lot of people have been having these conversations, because people are in relationships because they're afraid to not be in them, they don't want to let them go, or this, that, and the other. There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of things out there. But I'm watching a lot of people literally kill themselves and destroy their self-esteem and all this other stuff because they don't want to run the risk of being alone, or they don't want to let go of something that's hurting them. It's another kind of addiction, and it's one that only God can heal. So as we move forward, my prayer for all of you listeners, and even for all the people that surround INNERMIX, because we get to watch a lot of people go through a lot of things. We really do. And the one thing that I know is that it's important to, I know that we will be praying for everybody's clarity of vision, for the strength to walk away from things that will hurt them, and the strength to walk toward things that are going to better them. And that God will continue to reveal Himself to each and every one of us on a daily basis, so that we can move confidently into the place that He would really have us be at. Because no father wants their children to go through, to be abused by the one that's supposed to be helping them throughout life. Nobody wants to see somebody addicted to something that's going to kill them and take them out. So, I know that got really somber, but I also know that there's just a lot of pain going on right now. And, even with all the stuff that we talked about earlier, with all the bullying and this, that, and the other, it's too easy to get depressed nowadays. It is. But because of who God is, and because we trust Him, love Him, and depend on Him, we can make it through these things that would otherwise cause us to feel like we have no purpose. So understand your purpose. Walk into that purpose. And in doing that, understand that God is going to cut things away from you that don't need to be near you and don't need to be on you, because you are moving forward and you are growing. And Gina, was that me? Or hold on. Like Gina, yes, it's very true that it's not always easy. Okay, and for you guys that don't know, so Gina just simply said this is right on time, but this does hurt because she may have to let go of somebody. But Gina, I've watched a lot of people around me start to God has started to remove people from their life that's not helping, and that's not encouraging, and that's not, God is there's a scripture that says that He will prune, but He will also separate the wheat from the chaff. At some point, because the chaff is the part that refuses to grow and become healthy, that's the part that becomes the weed. And at some point, no matter how much we love people that we are around, and no matter how much we want to hold on to these people, when it starts to cut off the supply to the healthy, God will remove it. And if that but He doesn't just do it willy-nilly. It's because that part has decided that they don't want to be healthy. They don't want to get into a good place. And God is not going to allow His children to be put into a position. He's going to let us know. He's going to say, look, this is not for you, walk away. This is hurting you, walk away. This is going to break your heart, walk away. This is going to take you down and not lift you up, walk away. God will do that. He's done it. And when I didn't listen, thank God He still came through and said, okay, well, I'm going to have to show you. So we all get stubborn. No, we all believe what we believe. You see what I'm saying? Like, we all know we know what's best. We all believe we know what's best. But we also all like to blind ourselves to the reality of our situations. And then we don't like other people telling us about our situations. And after talking to this young lady earlier today, and after talking to a lot of people over the last couple of weeks, while I was in the middle of getting different news. You see what I'm saying? Like, there were things that I've heard from my life that weren't the best, that I had to let go. I had to let people go, and I had to do certain things, and it broke my heart. Okay, but at the same time, I know that God knows what's best for me, and I have good friends that I had to just let go of, and that's because there are people and I'm going to close with this. There are people in your lives sometimes that will believe that because of your relationship with God, that they don't have to actually have a personal relationship with Him for themselves. And they believe, because they know of God and they know this, that, and the other, but they believe that because they know you, that is their bridge to salvation. Okay, and so what God will do is He will remove you, so that the only thing that they can see is they have to build a relationship for themselves. Because people sometimes will compare their walk with God to your walk with God. And because they think you have it all together, they stop paying attention to their walk. So it's not always a bad, we may not like it emotionally or whatever, but God loves these people. God loves us all. And because He loves us, and love is more than an emotion, it's not even an emotion. Because He loves us, He says, well, I'm going to have to move you out the way, because I promised in my word that I would make a way for you. I'd make the crooked way straight. And sometimes, as much as we love God, we become the crooked way in front of those people. We become that mountain that has to be moved. Not because we're doing anything negative, but because they can't see past us to get where they're going. So continue to stay prayerful. Continue to lift each other up instead of tearing each other down. And we understand that we all have sense of humor and that we joke. Just make sure the people you're joking with understand and are strong enough to deal with your jokes. That's really important, because it's not like I'm going to stop saying that Jules has a big head. I just understand that she knows that I love her and that she has a big head. So we love you guys. And that will conclude tonight's show. We lost Tatiana along the way, but she's 3 hours ahead anyway, so she did good. She did good for hanging out. If you guys want to follow INNERMIX, you can follow us on Facebook. just type in INNERMIX. I almost went to the wrong site. If you if you want to follow us on Instagram, it's INNERMIX360. If you want to follow us on Twitter, INNERMIX_show, and here on Google Plus, you guys can always find us at plus INNERMIX show. Okay. Yeah. Other than that, you guys have a great weekend or week. Ooh, what the day? Good Lord. I'm sorry. I'm looking at some of these things coming in, and you guys remember that strength is not because you are strong. It's because you are deciding to move forward. That's really what it is. You have to decide that you're going to move forward. I don't always know what to do. Don't get it twisted. Okay. The only reason, and this question was asked last week, why I stay motivated is because I've decided that I'm going to push forward. But I'm not always the most confident person. I'm not. And that's just real. The only thing I get confidence from is knowing that God has never left me nor forsaken me. He's never let me down. So even when I have my own little insecurities, and I have some insecurities, you understand what I'm saying? But I also know that I was beautifully and wonderfully made by God, and I was made in His image. But sometimes I have to be reminded of that. And I don't receive encouragement the way, like a lot of people do. I don't get that, oh, you cute, oh, you smart, oh, you. I don't get that. You know what I'm saying? So most of the time I have to encourage myself. And the Bible did say that you will have to encourage yourself sometimes. So when you get into those positions where you feel like you're weak and you don't know what to do and you feel like nobody's going to listen to you or hear you or want to even see you, remember that you have to encourage yourself because you are beautifully and wonderfully made, that you are made in God's image and that He has given you authority in the situations that you're in. If you're in bad situations, He's given you the authority and the power to move out of those situations, but you can do that because of who He is in your life. And it's a step-by-step situation. Okay, if you are, and if you are positive, if you believe that God is able and all that, then understand that confidence and that knowledge and that thing also comes from God. And don't get stuck on your victories, but continue to move forward so that you can experience more and more victories, and so that others can watch, so others can join you along that victorious route. Okay, don't let the situations in your life beat you down. That's just what it is. And you guys are kind of breaking my heart, but I'm also very hopeful and optimistic because I know God is able. It's just that thing. But letting go is never easy. That's something that just keep it pushing. That's my family motto. Keep it pushing. Okay, INNERMIX has not stopped. With all the stuff y'all heard about, like with all the personal attacks that I come under and all the stuff that happens in Jules' life, we do not stop moving. We may want to from time to time, but we do not stop pushing. And every time we get close to a victory, somebody comes up and says something stupid. Or somebody comes and asks you about your enduring power. Or somebody comes up and asks you why you do what you do if you're not any further than you were before. People always ask these questions on my side, her side, our side. They ask these questions. And I've learned to answer the question with one thing. To me, it's very simple. This is where God has me for now, so this is where I'm going to be, and I'm going to put my best work forward because He has an expected end for me. So whether He takes me down this road and says make a left here and then keep going forward from there, that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to follow where God is leading. And I'm confident in His ability to take me to a victorious end. That's just it. And when most people don't know how to respond to that, I'm good. Because I stopped trying to answer everybody's question point for point. It doesn't make any sense. So anyway, you guys, follow us on Instagram. We have our 2,000 follower challenge coming up at the beginning of next month. And if you guys want to reach out to us, you can reach us at info@innermix.net because it's still there. If there's any more room in that email thing, because I'm trying to clean it out for y'all. But if there's any more room, send us messages there. And then we will have a new Yahoo up in the next day or two, so we can start getting back to our normal conversations. For those of you who left a comment on tonight's show, thank you very much. You guys on YouTube and you guys on Google+. We appreciate you guys, and we will see you guys next week. Oh, I'm Simply D. And
this is Jill. Have a good night.
That's Jill's over there. Yeah, have a good night, you guys.